Okay, one sec. Okie dokie. Welcome everyone to my podcast, Master Your Emotion and Find Your Own Truth. So today we will be talking about the soul integration. But today I've got a beautiful soul who responded for my invitation. So let's go introduce. I would like to introduce first, and then he's going to introduce himself as well. And he is going to probably talk a little bit more what he's doing. And anyway, that will be a dive much more deeper. So welcome today, Marc. And he's a soul integration coach, and he's an energy healer, host of the Cosmic Light Body podcast. And also, what I found about you, you are the galactic channel, because you're channeling the Galactic Federation. Is that
Yes.
correct? Yeah.
Yes, correct.
And also, of course, he's providing lots of beautiful sessions with the people around, the beautiful souls who needs the help. So if you would like the help at the end of our conversation, so probably he's going to share some social media and you'll know where you have to go. Would you mind just only say something about you or add something I didn't say?
Yeah, so about 4 years ago, I had a spontaneous crown chakra opening and awakening. I would say, a spiritual awakening probably back around 2011 when I started really getting in tune with my higher self. I've always been very intuitive, would always question the reality and look for a greater meaning in reality throughout my entire life. But 4 years ago, I had a crown opening, chakra activation, and all this energy started to flow through me. I popped out of my body and I started to get answers to all sorts of questions regarding the universe, life on other planets, gravity, all sorts of wild things just started coming through me. When I got back into my body, that changes you forever. So I started really diving into this more. I had connected with my spirit guide. I connected with a Pleiadian guide. The Galactic Federation came forward, all within the span probably of maybe a 6-month period. All this happened very spontaneously, very, very quickly. And I realized that we are here for a greater purpose. What we grew up with our programming, with our, whether it be religion or education, whatever it is, we're taught to look at the world from a certain perspective. But when we have these types of awakenings, or maybe you or your listeners, maybe you feel something deep within, something greater than what you're experiencing, like you have a greater life purpose, that type of thing. When we feel that and we could get into this energy and open ourselves up to a greater reality, everything just changes. You invite in higher frequency light beings, energy. You ground more of your divine self. And what I do is I work with people to help them heal the energetic blockages, because programming and limiting beliefs and things like that create blockages within the body, energy blockages, and your divine light cannot move through it smoothly. That's the best way to describe it. And it doesn't get up here to where we could perceive it. So when we could work through the energy blockages, it frees up that energy, it creates space, and it allows you to ground more of your divine soul energy. And that's when it gets really, really exciting. That's when people have life-changing events. Their purpose comes forward, connection with the divine, connection with their higher self, connection with galactic beings, all of that stuff lands. And it's truly amazing. So that's what I do. I work with people to open that up.
Yeah, open them and just only release that the blockages from the system, from all the aura and around it, and also that's amazing. That's amazing. If you would like to describe in maybe not the one word, what is the really soul integration? Because some of the people didn't know that integration soul. What is the soul? What is the integration? And how we can just only put them together? And what is the purpose for that?
Yeah, so we are all aspects of source consciousness. We're fragments of source consciousness. We're awareness, individual awarenesses. We land here and we think that we're this physical body and that's it. Okay, so aspects of our soul kind of get splattered out when we're born. We're born and it just goes splat, and we lose connection with that. And that could lead us back to parallel lives, past lives, different realities, things like that, different experiences that we're having on a soul level, because we're multi-dimensional beings. Okay, so we are existing in the now in many other we could call it places, many other frequencies. Okay, so when we come here, we forget all that. We're just this body. So soul integration is the process of bringing all of those aspects back into this reality so that we could start to perceive them and remember them.
Okay. So what I just only hearing, so when we come in here on the planet Earth, we just only completely blind. We just only created our future, our past, and everything, that our life, like a, I don't know, beautiful canvas. We just only painted on the whatever that was. Okay. Anyway, and now we just only split it up in the few fragments. So we are in the multidimensional places. Is that correct?
Yes, but we only think we're here. We're cut off from everything else. We have a veil, amnesia essentially sets in when we're born because of the density and the nature of this reality. We land here, we're born, and we forget who we really are. We're the one that orchestrated this whole event, created this body, created this reality to come here to have certain experiences. But because of the nature of this universe, of this reality, we forget that connection. So through a process of soul integration, we could heal from energetic blockages, from traumas and things like that, because that's what cuts us off. The traumas, the fears, the anxieties, that takes our energy and cuts us off from our higher self. So we forget all of those things. So when we start to work with that energy and we start to feel, we start to accept all of our emotions, and we could breathe with them, we could get our energy moving, we start to reconnect up with other aspects of ourselves. And on a multidimensional aspect, from that perspective, it could look like reconnecting with your Pleiadian aspect or your Pleiadian guides, because they're all a reflection of us. So could be, deceased loved ones, could be, your higher self, your spirit guides, whatever it may be. We start to open up to the fact that they exist, and we start to be able to reconnect with them.
Yeah, because when you read the Dolores Cannon books, I don't know if you're familiar with that books. She said that was a walk-in, so that was called a walk-in. So when we experience any trauma, any uncomfortable feeling in our body, then our one piece of the soul is evacuating from our system, from our energetic fields. And then when we're going to integrate that soul, bringing up back this aspect, just coming in.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a different perspective on that. I've done videos on my YouTube channel on drop-in souls. Essentially, for me, what happened was, or a walk-in soul, as when I had my crown opened, I had this bigger aspect of me drop in. So I call that like a walk-in soul or a drop-in soul, like more of my higher self dropped into my awareness. And with that came remembrances and other connections to galactics and all sorts of things. So we can look at it in different ways. There are situations, I think, where souls can vacate and another will come in, and that's all planned. But I think a lot of the time what's happening is we are bringing in higher aspects of ourself, and it feels like a completely new soul. We retain all the memories of the prior version of us, but yet we have an expanded perspective of reality. And that's opening up to that divine energy and the higher self really kind of dropping in and bringing with it knowing of the multidimensional aspects of us. And we start to then connect with it.
Yeah. So would you mind just only explain a little bit more? How is that feel? Because you're saying that coming in when your crown chakra open and that aspects of you came in. So how is that feel? Can you describe?
It's very hard to describe in words. It is nothing like I have ever felt before. It was absolutely, there's no words for it. And I try to explain too, you have this feeling of what we call unconditional love. And I can't even explain what that feels like in words. It's too big for words. You know, these are very high frequencies. So when that happens, when that comes in, you feel it in your core. Every cell of your body vibrates. Okay. And you feel it. Now, my experience, literally, I was out in my backyard listening to music, and the next thing I knew, I was out in space. My awareness was out in space, and I had energy rushing past me and all of this knowledge coming forward. And I got back into my body, and that changes you forever. It changes you forever. Yeah.
That came spontaneously. So
that was
wasn't
spontaneous.
aware. You just when you went out and you've been out and boom, and happened, and just came in, and etc.
It came in. Now, a few weeks before that, I started a guided meditation to connect with the Akashic records, and I met my spirit guide within the guided meditation, and I didn't realize at the time that he was my spirit guide until when I was done. This was like a guided meditation for me. It had like 10 days you had to go through. When I was done, he started to appear outside of the guided meditation.
Oh, wow.
So like, oh, that's interesting. And then I had that spontaneous awakening out, you know, the crown opening out in my backyard. And then shortly after that, I had galactics, 3 galactic beings standing in my foyer in my house.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the Galactic Federation?
The Galactic Federation came forward. One day I was just sitting in my family room, and 3 shafts of light appeared in my foyer and started communicating with me. And they told me who they were. They told me they were the Galactic Federation. And I didn't know a whole lot about this at the time. They just came. I was in a frequency where I was working with my spirit guide. So I had started the healing process, the energy healing process, which is what I do and work with people on. So I was healing my dense energy, the energetic blockages, which was creating space, and it was time for them to come through.
Yeah.
So they came through and started working with me on some of my fears, because I had fears of ETs ever since I was like a little guy. You know, that was just a fear that I had. So they came through as these shafts of light and started working with me to clear those fears. And it just expanded from there. Shortly after that, they actually brought forward my Pleiadian guide. Came right down through them. I had, a guide from Andromeda. I had, there were Arcturian. There was one alien ET looking guide that I can't even put a label on. I don't know what he is, but I had bilocation experiences where I was on various spacecraft. So I'd be sitting like I am here now.
Yeah.
And my awareness would shift, and I'd find myself on a spacecraft. So I was aware of me sitting in the chair, and I was aware of me communicating with other beings in different places. So bilocation experiences. So when we talk about multidimensionality, that's what we're returning to. Okay, we're becoming able to perceive, or we're remembering how to perceive different aspects of us at once, but we're pulling it all into here so that we can have these experiences from the human perspective. So that's where we get into integrating all of that.
Yeah. So why we know and why we don't know about our different aspects. So why we know, we are just only focusing. Oh, actually, I'm just only answering this question. But anyway, we just only know, okay, we are here, but we don't know the other aspects. So how is that? Are they communicating, or they are completely blind and they didn't know about ourselves, about us?
They know about us. They are always there. We're the ones that tune them out. So when we it's consciousness, and it's about awareness. So we start to become aware of these beings. When I had that guided meditation, my guide was working with me in the guided meditation to bring me or entrain me to a certain frequency, a higher frequency. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but then when I was done with the meditation, I was able to perceive him outside of that, because he had entrained me to his frequency. Okay, so as we rise in frequency and we go through the energetic healing process, this stuff just starts to naturally come forward. You may have a vision a memory may surface. You may have a synchronicity. You may have an experience that triggers something within you, and that opens the doorway to that knowing to come forward. And it just kind of happens. So we have to learn to follow those leads. When we start to experience or see something that seems a little bit out of place, it's a door opening up. A lot of times we're taught to ignore stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I know. That's why we have to stay tuned with ourselves, with our body. We need to start feeling more.
Yes.
Because I remember last night, that was 2 weeks ago, I went to bed in the evening and I didn't even fall asleep. But then I was just only floating over the bed. I was like, oh gosh, what's happening? What's happening? And I was completely out of, my conscience was away, but my body was lying down. That was an amazing feeling. That was like a floating, that's happened a lot of times. One day I was in the spaceship. I couldn't remember exactly where, but it wasn't. But anyway, it's fine. It's good. But nowadays, it's a lot of happening. I don't know if you just only sense that energy. It's a lot of, for me, a lot of memory come back. Just on the war, I was on the war in the past. I don't know where that comes from, but like everything is like I'm just only allowing, just only go through. I'm not just only focusing on anything. I'm just okay. Okay, fine, good.
That's it. That's exactly what you're doing is the way forward. We want to just accept what's coming forward. Because when we attach to it, our mind starts to create a story around it, and it pulls your energy off. And that's kind of that splatter I was talking about earlier that disintegrates the soul energy. We want to keep it here, and we want to feel all the subtleties of it. And as we continue to heal from energetic blockages, and we do that through breath work and meditation and things like that, we become more sensitive to the subtle energies within the energetic body. And when we could sit and feel that fully, that creates space, and it allows more of those memories to come forward, more of that multidimensional existence to manifest.
Yeah, so that's why the blockages, that's the sensation of the body. So if you feel it, you can feel it. So you can't, actually, we're not really blocked. We're not really blocked from my perspective. We're not really blocked. We're just only not allowing for ourselves.
Exactly. It's however you want to term it.
Just be whole, because we love it. We've been conditioned, we've been suppressing. Anyway, that's a long story, another topic. But definitely, when you feel more, when you allow yourself and clean and clear, then you can experience.
These are emotional, energetic blocks where we're not allowing ourselves to feel in certain areas of the body, right?
Completely numb.
Exactly. So that's where our divine energy can't get to. So as it comes up through our central channel, through our body, it encounters these dense areas and it wobbles. And that moves us out of alignment with our higher self, with our divine energy.
Yeah. So in the one of your, I've done a little bit of research. So one of your posts on the Instagram, you just only put in the one sentence. What you see is not the real you. Can you explain a little bit more?
Yeah, what you see is not really you. What you see with your five senses is just the physical body. And when we believe that all we are this physical body, and that we're disconnected from everything, we see everything else as separate, we close ourselves off from our multidimensional energy. So we need to look at ourselves as a version, an aspect of awareness that is here to have experiences, that we are connected to a greater energy, to a soul, that we are that soul. We are just focused into this body to have certain types of experiences, to go through the experience as a human.
Okay. So how you can explain if somebody will be coming out completely, I would like to say, blind and not really awake, and you would like to explain them what is the soul, because they probably won't believe they've got a soul. They're completely in the physicality, so they don't believe that they've got something. Actually, that's scientific proven. We've got something inside us. After
so
when
how
we
would
die.
Have they ever thought of what is their purpose for being here? Have they ever thought of maybe that this reality is actually greater than they've realized. Have they ever had experiences of synchronicities? That's a very powerful one. A song on the radio, 11:11 on the clock, 2:22, whatever it may be. Have you ever experienced that, looked at that at a certain moment, at the very right moment, and felt something deep within you? Okay, that's the way, because a lot of times people they get so, because of programming, get so aligned with life, constantly with working and creating success and staying motivated and doing all the things that society has programmed us to do since we were little, since we got into school, that distracts us from this greater aspect of us. So your soul will find ways to get through to you. And the key is to feel what's happening when you start to see these weird things or experience these weird things. Like maybe you'll be thinking of somebody and they call you. You haven't talked to them in a long time, and the phone rings, that kind of stuff. We're all connected. These are all synchronistic events to remind you that you are greater than what you perceive through your five senses.
Yeah, so that sounds like you're not the body, you're not even the mind. Definitely. It is only consciousness. How you can describe the consciousness? So if you
consciousness is everything. Everything is consciousness. Consciousness created all of this physical universe. Consciousness is this physical universe. Consciousness created gravity. Consciousness created your body, your physical body. It's boundless. It's just everything. It's everything everywhere. It's all consciousness. What we need to do is be aware of that, bring awareness to that fact that everything is consciousness, and bring forward what is unconscious, make unconscious conscious. And that is maybe observing thoughts and things that are going on within your mind that you're maybe not aware of, getting into situations and exploring how you feel in those situations instead of kind of just brushing it away and avoiding things. When you feel fear, we want to lean into fear a little bit. We want to find out why we're feeling fearful. We want to find out where that energy is kind of stuck and lean into that and free it. That allows your energy to flow, and that brings more consciousness forward. The body, I know you had mentioned this earlier, we don't have awareness in certain areas. We're kind of numb, right?
Yeah.
When we were talking about that.
Yeah.
That is, bringing unconsciousness conscious. When we have that kind of feeling and we can bring awareness to it, we're allowing more of that energy to flow through there and waking it up, so to speak. So consciousness comes here, and it's all consciousness, but it kind of goes to sleep, and it's our job to bring awareness to it, to wake it back up. And our higher self and our soul is coming through, and it is assisting us in doing that by giving us synchronicities and things like that. Our physical body is assisting us with that process by showing us aches and pains and things like that. Okay, these are areas where we need to bring awareness to, because energy is not flowing through it. So the clues are all around us. The key is to be aware of them and to work with them.
Yeah, just only when you said the pain, just only something came up to me about the somatic symptoms in our body. So that kind of the things could be also the blockages, isn't it?
Yes, it is the blockages. What happens is, as that energy encounters density within the body, and again, these are pockets that lack awareness. Okay, it's like consciousness kind of went to sleep. It's unconscious. Okay. Now I'm referring to consciousness now as being awake versus being asleep. So the body will get your attention with a pain or with an ache or a numbness. It could be a more serious ailment or disease, even if it's ignored long enough. Okay. But when we could feel the subtleties of it and be aware of it and not ignore it, not distract ourselves with our life, but get inside and work with that, we free up that dense energy. We remove those energetic blockages, and those areas now can fill with high frequency light. And that's how we heal energetically.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. I could remember maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, I recommend for everyone just only scream, but not scream about somebody or in front of somebody. Just only go to the nature and just only ask the nature for the
Mhm.
permission to allow purge out all the low vibration dense
Purging.
energy. So I just
Mhm.
always maybe not really screaming, but I just only gave that sound of a lot of different sounds, like or the sounds of the anger, sounds of the uh, not belonging, and that kind of the
Yes.
energy. And another day when I went sleep, I felt so amazing. I felt like
Yeah.
oh, not from this world, not from the 3D world, definitely. I felt
But the
really flow.
frequency.
And also
Yeah.
what I said, what I just only found, that was all my creativity and just opening spontaneously straight away. So
That's exactly right. Yes. So when we work with that and we get in and because what you did was you use sound
yeah,
frequency
yeah,
to start to vibrate areas within your body where there was stuck energy. So when
yeah,
you did that, you allowed new knowledge to come forward, knowing to come forward, and your
yeah.
creativity returned. Now, I was in Sedona, Arizona, just last week, and I was in a vortex site, and I had some lower back pain, and I sat and I breathed, did some breath work in there, breathed with that in the high frequency energy and restored that energy flow, and the pain just went away. So our
Wow.
bodies will show us where these blockages are. Our mind will also give us clues that we have energetic blockages when we start to experience things throughout our day that give rise to fear and anxiety.
Yeah,
Those are clues that we have an energetic blockage. So, when you get scared, maybe you have a little bit of an ache somewhere, you have a pain somewhere, you get in and you breathe into that, you feel it fully, and you bring it back online. You
yeah,
allow your high energy, high frequency light to flow through it.
yeah. Nowadays, the people maybe not all of them, but so many people just only going to the Western medicine. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know about you, but I'm just only stopped doing that stuff 15 years ago. But just going and taking the tablets, taking
The
some
pills, yeah.
that's got kind of the things, but just only
Yeah.
first allow and just okay, fine, good, and something like that. Find a different solution for that. But anyway, that's
Well,
awakening because another
yeah.
things I would actually when you mentioned, I don't know if you heard something about sleeping, you walking and you sleeping, that kind of things. You sleep when you walk or something like that. So always the people when they're walking, they're sleeping. So I didn't know that before. I just only got that awakening time 2008. I was like, oh gosh, I'm just only walking and I'm sleeping. How is that possible? My eyes
Well,
is
I think,
open, but I'm sleeping.
yeah.
So
Are you talking about literally sleeping like at night, or because we refer a lot of times people are walking out throughout their day, they're walking about throughout their day and they're really sleeping. We call it like
yeah, that's
being
why.
unconscious.
Yeah, that's why
They're
I would like
not
to bring it.
they're
Yeah,
in their head, they're in their programming, and they're just
yeah,
going through routines. It's like getting in your car,
yeah,
driving to a place where you've driven to 100 times, and you're not even thinking about the drive. You get to your destination and you don't even remember the drive because you were
yeah,
unconscious. You were to the reality that was occurring when you were driving. You weren't present.
yeah.
You were
That's
off
true.
somewhere else in your head, right? Thinking about things and whatever. That's what we call being unconscious. We want to get present in these moments. And when you went out and you screamed, you got present because you were so focused on what you were doing in that moment. You got present, and that freed up
Yeah.
some of these blockages. So throughout our day, we want to bring it back to the body and just bring it in and breathe, become aware of your breath and get present and live from that perspective instead of always living from your head, from your mind.
Okay, but what's happened if somebody's come to straight away to you and give that trigger point to you, and you couldn't be a present, or you can just react? How you can do that?
Well, there's a choice. When you are triggered, an emotional charge comes up into your mental body, and into your emotional body. And it's a very attractive charge because it's a familiar charge. You
Yeah,
see, your mind tries to keep you safe. So it's going to present you with a situation that you have been in before because it thinks it's keeping you safe. And it doesn't feel good. It's going to bring up fear and anxiety. And you have a choice at that moment to either become that fear and anxiety or separate from that, detach from it, and just observe it and feel it. A lot of times people think that these emotions are bad and they want to avoid them at all costs. And that's not the case. What we need to do is accept all of these emotions, but not react to them. We want to learn to create space so that we can bring a little bit of awareness forward to realize that something is triggering you, that your soul is showing you needs to be felt and healed.
Yeah.
Okay. Because what do we try to do? We try to, it's fight or flight mode. When we get into a fearful situation, it could be something at work or whatever. It doesn't have to be a physically, dangerous situation. All of those stress hormones release, and we get into a fight or flight mode, and everything gets tense. The body gets tense, blood pressure goes up, all that kind of stuff. So we want to just be able to observe that and not align with it, not become that. And we could use tools and breath work and things like that to create that space and detach from that in the moment when it happens.
Yeah, that's true. But also we are putting ourselves in the victim position, or we blame somebody. That's your fault. That's your fault. And
that's right.
And
that's so we don't have to feel.
Began,
right?
And began.
Yeah. So when something comes up that stresses me and I say it's your fault, now I don't have the responsibility to feel it. I'm placing it out in my field in somebody else. And that doesn't bring forward the healing of that emotion, of that state. We need to bring awareness to it, accept it, and feel it.
Okay. It's not a kind of the mirror effect. So I can see my stuff inside you, and you can see your stuff inside me.
Absolutely.
So we need to repair. Yeah.
That's right. See, that's the thing. That's the fallacy. That's what people think, if I blame you, then I'm okay. I don't have to deal with this or feel it, but that's a reflection. Okay.
Yeah,
so essentially we need to take responsibility for our feelings, for how we feel. And we need to be present with that and be aware of it and detach from it. And that's when we have an opportunity to bring love and compassion forward. Okay. Because these feelings are part of us. We don't want to cut them off. We want to embrace them.
Yeah, because another stuff is like around the soul contracts. I don't want to go dive in about the soul contracts, but anyway, we have to also be aware if somebody of watching us today would like to dive much more in, we can maybe record the next, I don't know, maybe next podcast around the soul contracts. Because I made a contract, for example, with you in the past, and before I came on the planet Earth anyway, and now we're just only doing the healing process anyway.
Yes.
So I just only imagine like that kind of things. But anyway, that's a real stuff. We just only made a contract. That's why we are talking today.
Yes,
my belief.
Yes, we all have situations that we are placing ourselves in for our growth. And we communicate quantumly with souls. And, a lot of times we think of it, before we came here, it's all happening in the present. It's all because we're multidimensional. We have this connection and it's coming forward. And when the frequencies are right and the time is right here on Earth, we meet up, and it's coming through. It could come through, a post comes up, and then, or something like that. Then it's like, I want to reach out to you, and I want to, you just feel something deep within. And that's having that presence, that's having that awareness to be able to work through these soul contracts and get the work done that we came here to do, that we agreed to do together. Yeah.
So we can't blame each other because we've chosen that before. So why do you have to blame each other? It's just when I say, thank you. Just you're arriving in the right time, right place. And we can do that together. Yeah.
And that happens with like relationships a lot of times where a relationship isn't working. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of fighting in the relationship. There's a soul contract there. So when we continue to identify with the emotions and the behavior, we don't really do ourselves justice in the healing work that we both agreed to do. Okay. So we need to own that, take that responsibility, and feel everything that relationship is bringing up from within.
Yes, definitely, because the relationship with my husband didn't work properly. And then what I realized, I was much more aware of that. And I told him, oh my goodness, we made a contract. We made a contract before. We couldn't finish like that, because when we finish like that, we come back again, we going to do the lesson again. I don't want to come back again. I don't want to do any more lesson like that.
Right.
So let's go work together. Oh my goodness, I've got goosebumps now. Oh,
Exactly.
that's good.
Because
And
what
then,
happens, it shows up in another person. That same energy shows up in
yeah,
another person to reflect back to you, to give you another opportunity to heal it. So when you could recognize the purpose of the relationship,
yeah,
you could heal it right then and there.
that's true. My screen is just glowing now, gosh.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's why I just only said to him, let's go do it. Let's go do it. And we've done it already. So that's perfect. Yeah, so
Yes.
that's why don't give up, just keep carry on. If something happened, that's happened for the reason. So nothing has happened without any reason. As beautifully
Yeah.
said. Yeah, amazing. Wow. So how would you like to describe, I mean, I know we're talking about the soul integration,
Mhm.
but if you would like to bring more light, and more light. So if you would like to give some tips or some advices in the five, I don't know, points or something like that for the people who are listening. So what they can
Okay.
do.
Yeah, the biggest thing to do is not run from your emotions, not run from the shadows. The path to more light, the path to your light is into the darkness. Okay, so a lot of times what people will do is they will avoid that. When it comes to, spiritual, and I see this a lot in the spiritual community, there's a lot of love and light, kind of keep yourself feeling good all the time. And when we do that, we bypass the work that we need to do. We need to create space. We need to raise the frequency of our physical body. And in order to do that, we need to clear the dense energy. We need to heal it. We need to raise its frequency. The only way to do that is to feel it. So when we avoid our triggers, when we avoid the emotions, we are not allowing ourselves to heal. So we need to get into the darkness, and it's very challenging. There's a term I know you know called the dark night of the soul, where there's these long periods of energetic healing happening, and it doesn't feel so good, but that's where the gold is. That's the yellow, I said, call it the yellow brick road. The path forward is through the darkness. And we rewire ourselves to know that that's where we need to be, because we're here to be shown. Our higher self is showing us through our triggers what we need to heal. So why resist that? Let's dive into it. And that's what I work with people to help them through.
Okay, so we have to be much more aware if you are awake, because the people are probably, there are lots of people who are awake already, or just you've been through this something, they're watching us, definitely. So you need to be much more aware, and you need to try to be actually, maybe not try, it's not a such thing, try, just only be in the present moment, just only remind yourself constantly, and don't beat yourself, or don't judge too much yourself.
Don't judge yourself.
Just coming, or just, okay, another day, there's a plenty of the days. Anyway.
Yes.
So that's well said. And there's only start healing the process, allowing yourself, allowing feel more, and don't numb yourself.
As you feel,
as long as you're going to the dentist.
Right. Yeah, exactly. As you heal, you're raising your frequency. As you're being present with this energy, this density to feel it, you are raising your frequency. And again, when we don't feel it, when we ignore it, anxiety builds, stress builds. You will constantly see the situations that you're avoiding remanifest in other situations. The same energy is going to come back forward. So we want to get in and feel it and get present with it.
Yeah. So that's all for that integration of the soul and how you can recognize inside you. I've got two more questions, like I told you at the beginning, from the audience. So the one that was, somebody asked me, why we make life difficult if we the wise souls? That was a question. So I don't know. Do you know what I mean? So when we come in here and we just only wise souls, and we come in here on the planet Earth and just only, I knew it, that stuff. Why did I sign for it?
Yeah, my guide has told me many times that I like to suffer. He's like, Mark, you like to suffer, and to some extent that's true. Suffering's familiar to us. It's something that we have just, it's just a familiar feeling. A lot of times we feel comfortable, when we try to get out of suffering, we kind of move out into an unfamiliar area, and that doesn't feel so good. Our ego tries to protect us. So it gives us something to distract us with, and usually that's suffering. Okay. But why did we do that? We came here to have these experiences, to be able to alchemize this dense energy. Okay. This planet descended into a third dimensional state and got very, very heavy. It's like walking through thick mud. The energy is very dense. And we're here to alchemize that, to raise the frequency and to assist the planet in the ascension process. So that's why we're here. The mind likes to keep us in suffering because that's what it knows. The rest of it's unfamiliar to it.
That's right.
So when we could bring awareness to it, and we know what's happening with the mind, then we could create that detachment, create that space, and take control of it, and then make a choice to feel instead of suffer, instead of staying in the suffering. We could feel the emotion and allow it to move through us.
Yeah, that's completely, for me, that makes sense, because we came here, learn the lesson. So we came here to do something. But when we're doing something over and over, like your guide said, you like it. You love it. You love it.
You like to suffer, right? Because it's familiar.
Just
so our mind
on.
pulls us back there, right? Our mind's like, okay, you know this feeling. No, it doesn't feel good, but you know it. You know, it's comfortable. So we need to break out of that.
Okay, so another thing, is that true? The deep healing is happening when we're resting?
Yes. When we're resting and we're in a meditative state, we are more connective. You know, I'm talking like slower brain waves, you know, alpha brain waves. You don't have to be meditating per se, but you're resting. Your mind is quiet. You are connected with your higher frequency energy, with your soul, with your higher aspects, maybe your Arcturian guides, whatever it may be, and you're healing, you're bringing healing energy through. So when we could ground this divine energy and sit and be present with it, and it flows through us, it allows the body to align with that healing energy instead of aligning with the day-to-day stressful stuff. That's why rest is so, so important.
Yeah, because sometimes the people just only not doing the rest, even like when the physical workout, just people just only carry on, and they're expecting something amazing, I don't know, the body shape or something like that. But then they forget about the resting time. But is the resting that could be also the walking to the nature and just only kind of the things you like doing, or just only reading the book?
Whatever gets you present, whatever gets you present. So you don't, like I said, you don't have to sit and you know, meditate to get into that state. Whatever gets you present, walking through nature is just amazing for that, because it's very grounding and very connecting to the earth, and there's healing energy there. So whatever it is that gets you calm into that state, gets you out of that fight or flight mode, gets your shoulders and your neck to kind of relax, right? Gets you to breathe from your belly instead, you know, lower chest, your belly area, instead of from up here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That gets you moving, gets you into energy flow, and your cells in your body start to get their instructions from a different part of the brain, instead of the part of the brain that's always doing and always, you know, anxiety thinking, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but and that last question. So what happens if you're going to integrate all aspects of ourselves from the different dimensions?
What happens?
So what's going to happen? So you can collect all of them.
Yeah, what happens is we're rising in frequency. Our physical body is rising in frequency, and we are, think of like little light bulbs. We've got different aspects of our soul as light bulbs. As we rise in frequency, different light bulbs turn on. Okay. And when we talk about integration, we are bringing those aspects forward. We're becoming aware of them. And that comes forward in new connections to your higher self, to your guides, to your ET guides, whatever it may be. Comes forward as knowing, new knowing, like I had with the universe and things like that when I had that experience.
Awakening.
Comes forward as reality, as being able to perceive parallel lives and past lives, things like that. It just opens up. You start to, because you've cleared the density within your body, your energy could come down, your soul's energy comes down, bounces off the earth, comes up through your central channel, out into your toric field. It gets up here in your brain, so you can start to perceive these things.
Yeah. But much more wisdom will be coming, and you will be on the conscious
Yes.
level as a soul. You'll be just only rising much more above. So, for
Yes.
example, in the past, your past lives, you've been a little bit low, and now each time you're going up and up. Amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you so much. Would you like to say something, or maybe a
Yeah.
few words,
Yeah.
if you would like to add something?
Well, I'm so grateful for you having me on your podcast. My website is soulintegrationcoach.com, and I do offer private healing sessions, spiritual coaching sessions as well. I have a YouTube channel. I'm on YouTube. My handle is at Marc Abrams. Cosmic Light Body Podcast. It's on Apple and Spotify, a whole bunch of, you can find it anywhere. You can find it on my website as well, soulintegrationcoach.com. On Instagram at Soul Integration Coach. I have a free membership on my website where people could sign up, and there's some content there, and a free guided meditation. If they go to the website, they'll be able to sign up for a really good heart chakra guided meditation as well. So, yeah, I'm out there in many different places. So
a lot. You're everywhere. Actually, you're everywhere. Your consciousness, you're everywhere. I would like to ask, is any quotes that helped you came over the difficult time in your life? Do you have any special one? Quotes, no, quotes, affirmation, or something like that. I know, I'm surprising the people like that at the end. Oh,
I can't think of any quotes as of now, but I would say a book that I read that was very helpful when I first had that crown chakra opening was Eckhart Tolle's book. There's A New Earth, and he's got a couple of books. I read both of them. They were absolutely amazing. The Power of Now. Really helped me out as I was trying to sort through all of this in the beginning.
Wow.
I do also want to mention, I do have a couple of courses on Udemy as well that people can take a look at that have gotten really great response, great reviews. One is Activating Your Third Eye, Learning to Perceive Energy. And the other is Learning to Communicate with Your Higher Self, your star family, and things like that. So
that's really important.
I've put a lot out there. I've put a lot out there for people to really start to get into this process and go through the healing work, which opens up all of these channels to be able to bring forward that energy and perceive it. Yeah,
that's amazing. Wow. Thank you so much. That was so pleasure to having you today. Oh my goodness.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so grateful.
Amazing. I hope so. We speak to you soon.
Definitely. We'll talk soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.